I stayed quiet when he traded me, but I will not be quiet now.
And Luka Doncic just blew the lid off everything that went down behind the scenes. The truth, the politics, the chain reaction. How one trade set off a domino effect that crushed an entire franchise and pushed Luka onto a comeback path so cold, so calculated, it almost mirrors what Michael Jordan once did to the Celtics. Today we're breaking into the secrets, the numbers, and the hidden drama that only the front office ever knew existed. And trust me, what you're about to hear will flip everything you thought you knew on its head. Nico Harrison just got pushed out of Dallas, and honestly, anyone paying attention saw the writing on the wall months ago. After 4 seasons running the Mavericks, and even guiding them to the 2024 NBA Finals, he was officially relieved of his duties as general manager and president of basketball operations. He came in with big promises, a defense-first blueprint, and a bold vision for the future. But then he made the trade, the one that detonated right in his hands. And when I say detonated, I mean nuclear-level disaster. The Mavericks opened the 2025-26 season losing 8 of their first 11 games, their worst start in years. Meanwhile, the echoes of the trade he pulled off, sending Luka Doncic to the Lakers, refused to fade. The arena shook night after night with fans chanting, "Fire Nico," until team governor Patrick Dumont finally stepped in and said, "Enough is enough."
The Mavericks went from the finals a year and a half ago to the worst record in the Western Conference.
In a letter addressed to the fans, Dumont tried to frame the firing as a painful but necessary move. "This decision was critical to moving our franchise forward in a positive direction," he wrote. The organization pushed the idea of a fresh start, handing the reins to Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi as interim co-GMs while they began the search for a permanent leader. Meanwhile, Harrison clung to the Luka trade like it was some kind of master plan. He kept repeating, "Defense wins championships," almost like a spell he hoped would silence the outrage. But fans weren't just angry about the decision, they were furious about what came after. Luka Doncic, the face of the franchise, was gone. The Mavericks looked directionless. Injuries mounted. And each game made it clearer that the team built to get stronger was somehow getting worse. Even Mark Cuban, the former majority owner, who usually avoids second-guessing the front office, publicly admitted that he wouldn't have approved the trade. And if you're the guy who pulled the trigger? That's the kind of comment that hits like a knockout punch.
Chance of firing Nico, you can hear him. They rained down last night in a loss to Milwaukee, in which the Mavericks blew a 13-point lead to fall to 3.
But now the real question is this: how on earth did Nico Harrison end up trading Luka Doncic in the first place? It all traces back to February of this year, when Harrison and Lakers GM Rob Pelinka began their quiet, behind-closed-doors conversations. According to insiders, these talks weren't some last-minute scramble, they'd been unfolding for weeks. And from the very beginning, Harrison insisted the Mavericks were locked in on one target, Anthony Davis. To Harrison, Davis wasn't just another star. He was the missing piece, the two-way defensive anchor the Mavericks had supposedly been searching for. Harrison kept pushing the idea that this wasn't about highlight plays or flashy offense. For him, it was about building a long-term foundation. About structure. About identity. About that old mantra he kept repeating over and over again, defense wins championships. Yeah, that one.
The influence it. No, yeah.
But so just to lay things out for people, I mean, Luka's a legit, like, generational talent.
You don't have to convince me.
But it's
yeah, I mean, I don't get it either.
You don't get it either.
No.
He didn't just mention it once, he leaned on that slogan like it was gospel. In Harrison's mind, landing Anthony Davis was the perfect way to reshape the Mavericks around a tougher, grittier defensive identity. He told reporters they had analyzed every angle, evaluated Luka's long-term trajectory, and believed this move would give Dallas its deepest, most versatile roster in years. But inside the organization, not everyone was buying the vision. Word around the Mavericks front office was that several scouts were blindsided by just how far Harrison was willing to go. He wasn't tweaking the roster, he was detonating the blueprint and rebuilding from scratch. Some in the scouting department felt completely sidelined, like they'd spent years constructing a system around Luka only for the entire philosophy to flip overnight. So why did Harrison think any of this would work? Well, there were a few reasons. First, his background. Coming from Nike, Harrison carried a mindset built on brand, identity, and culture. He genuinely believed he could redefine the Mavericks, turn them from a star-centric team into a defensively tough, flexible machine. But that was his first mistake, trying to impose another company's ideology onto a franchise that didn't fit the mold. Second, There were whispers that Harrison and parts of the front office had growing doubts about Luka's long-term fit. Concerns about his conditioning. Concerns about how massive his upcoming Supermax contract would be, one that would allow him to negotiate an even higher starting salary. In Harrison's mind, moving him before that extension hit somehow made financial and structural sense. But here's where everything went off the rails. Mark Cuban later claimed he wasn't fully looped in. According to Cuban, when Harrison called to walk him through the trade, Cuban assumed they were just having a discussion, until he realized the deal had already been finalized. That's insane. A billionaire former owner felt sidelined during the biggest roster move the franchise had made in years. Then the media got a hold of it, and the reaction was predictably savage. Tony Kornheiser on Pardon the Interruption didn't hold back, and honestly, he wasn't wrong.
We think defense wins championships, and we're bringing in one of the best two-way players in the league.
By the time all of this unfolded, it became painfully clear that Harrison had gambled not just with the roster, but with his own job. And the wild part? He still stood by his decision. He defended the trade, defended the vision, defended the plan, until reality stepped in. Because once the scoreboard dipped, the stats collapsed, and the injuries started stacking up, the truth hit harder than any headline ever could. The plan he believed in wasn't just flawed, it was falling apart in real time.
It happened a long time ago. It's late. Okay, that's the worst trade I have ever seen in my life. There are many who would concur. Just a terrible, terrible trade.
Let's break down just how brutally things collapsed after Harrison pulled the trigger on that trade, because it wasn't just bad. It was historically bad. First, the offense didn't just dip, it imploded. Early in the season, Dallas ranked dead last in offensive rating. And the craziest part? They were still playing at the 5th fastest pace in the league. High speed. Zero efficiency. That's not bad luck, that's a blueprint gone wrong. A broken design. And remember Harrison's favorite line? Defense wins championships. Yeah, about that. Adding Anthony Davis was supposed to fix everything on that end. He was supposed to be the defensive anchor, the stabilizer, the identity setter. Instead, the defense barely budged. Some nights they looked decent, most nights they looked disjointed. Blowout losses piled up. Morale cratered. Fans gave up. And the belief in Harrison's vision evaporated almost instantly. But the disaster didn't stop on the court. The business side took a beating too. Attendance dropped sharply. Even the restaurants around the American Airlines Center reported slow nights, like the normal pre-game buzz had died overnight. And to make things worse, the front office raised season ticket prices by 61% right after trading Luka. Fans were furious. And then came the social media hit. More than 700,000 followers unfollowed the Mavericks Instagram the moment Luka left. Dallas wasn't just losing games, they were losing revenue, fans, culture, energy, everything. So yeah, drastic action wasn't just expected. It was inevitable. Now let's talk about the guy Harrison built this entire plan around, Anthony Davis. The centerpiece. The anchor. The so-called foundation of the new Mavericks. Except, he couldn't stay on the court. In his Mavericks debut he looked great, but almost immediately after, he went down with a left adductor strain that sidelined him for 18 games. He returned for just 8 of the final 10 games, and then got hurt again with a calf strain. Things got so rough that the Mavericks even sent him to the G League just to get some controlled 5-on-5 representatives. Piece by piece, Harrison's master plan was falling apart. And there was no saving it. Davis's injury history was never a secret. Everyone knew he was fragile. Yet Harrison gambled the entire franchise on a player who couldn't stay healthy. The team was supposed to be tougher and more stable, but instead they underperformed at every level. And if Luka had stayed, Dallas could have been a top-tier offense and a real championship contender. Instead, Harrison's experiment crumbled into dust. And when you look at NBA history, it's not the first time a front office vision turned into a disaster. The Nets in 2007 blew up their future for Garnett and Pierce. The Bucks in 1998 traded away a young Dirk Nowitzki before he became Dirk. The Raptors shipped Vince Carter before fully capitalizing on his prime. The pattern is always the same. One move that looks bold in the moment but destroys a franchise long-term. Meanwhile, on the other side of the story, Luka couldn't have landed in a better situation. It was like the universe wanted to remind Dallas of exactly what they lost. From his very first moment in a Lakers jersey, Luka started cooking. This season he's averaging 34. 4 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists, leading the league in scoring and dropping triple-doubles like they are warm-ups. Those numbers don't get you claps, they get you immediate MVP buzz. And it wasn't empty stats. The Lakers started winning, fast. They won 28 of the first 38 games Luka played. Instant contention. The ratings? Insane. His Lakers debut pulled over 2 million viewers on ESPN, peaking at 2.55 million, nearly 40% above the network's average. His first game back against Dallas drew around 2.5 million on TNT. Luka didn't just join the Lakers. He boosted the entire NBA's primetime schedule. Merch sales went nuclear too. His number 77 Lakers jersey became the best-selling jersey in the entire NBA for the 2024-25 season. The Lakers jumped to number 1 in team merchandise sales, and league data confirmed it. Luka was the reason. That's millions, literal millions, added to the franchise the moment he arrived. And on the court? The highlights never stopped. Triple doubles, step backs, cross-court lasers. Every week, NBA social media turned into a Luka Doncic highlight reel. Even his teammates felt the shift. Austin Reeves said Luka made the game easier for everyone around him.
The Mavericks went from the finals a year and a half ago to the worst record in the Western Conference.
And then you look at Rob Pelinka, the Lakers GM, and you see the exact opposite approach. Instead of downplaying Luka's value like Harrison did, Pelinka went public praising him, calling Luka the best player in the world. Not a hint of hesitation. No politics. Just straight respect.
He makes the game, easy for everybody else.
Rob Pelinka, the Lakers GM, did the exact opposite of what Harrison ever did. Instead of downplaying Luka's value, he went public calling Luka the best player in the world. And when your GM says that about you, that changes everything. Because from that moment on, every roster decision, every marketing move, every piece of team identity starts orbiting around that one superstar. And this is the same player Dallas somehow convinced themselves they could move on from. It's almost comical. The guy they thought they could replace with defense is out in LA, completely transforming a franchise. Meanwhile in Dallas? Yeah, things look very different. Empty seats. Furious season ticket holders. And a front office blunder so catastrophic it became a league-wide punchline. Now sure, the Lakers weren't perfect right out of the gate. Chemistry takes time, and integrating a superstar always comes with growing pains. But none of that mattered once Luka settled in. He flipped every trend the Lakers had been struggling with, boosted their offense, changed opposing game plans, and injected life into every revenue stream the franchise has. Put it all together, the numbers, the wins, the ratings, the merch explosion, the locker room impact, and Luka in Los Angeles became the exact nightmare Dallas fans prayed would never happen. And here's the funniest part of the whole disaster. Luka never said a word when the trade happened. No dramatic statement. No shots fired. Nothing. He packed his bags, touched down in Los Angeles, and instantly played like he was the last pick in a pickup game with something to prove. And that's exactly why the clip that surfaced after Harrison was fired hit like a grenade. Reporters asked Luka about Nico Harrison losing his job, and Luka, who never takes public shots at anyone, just smirked and said this.
We could not be more grateful for you choosing this partnership, the best young basketball player in the universe.
That wasn't just shade. That was a solar eclipse. That was Luka stepping straight into prime Michael Jordan mode, and I took that personally, aura. Just like MJ, Luka didn't need to bark or complain to management. Jordan didn't beg for respect when Boston disrespected him. He just dropped 63 on the Celtics in the playoffs and let the stat sheet do the talking. When people tried to say Clyde Drexler was on his level, Jordan didn't argue. He walked into the 1992 finals, dropped 35 in the first half, and ended the conversation in real time. Luka took the same path. He let the work be the revenge. Months later, when the numbers made the truth impossible to ignore, he finally delivered that one line, and it landed like a knockout punch. The best part? Luka's jab wasn't emotional, it was accurate. Harrison repeated that defense wins championships mantra so many times you'd think it was printed on the team's payroll. And sure, defense matters, but there's a huge difference between emphasizing defense and gutting your entire franchise identity to force a defensive system your roster can't even support. And the defense? It didn't just fail. It collapsed. Before the trade, Dallas had a defensive rating of 113. Middle of the league. After the trade, it free fell to 116. Bottom 5 in the entire NBA. Opponent scoring? Before Luka was traded, 112. 4 points allowed. After AD arrived, 118. 7 points allowed. Even when Anthony Davis actually played, the defensive rating only improved to 115. 2 still bottom tier. The guy who was supposed to transform the team didn't move the needle. And here's the truth nobody in Dallas wanted to admit. Even if AD had somehow stayed 100% healthy, and let's be honest, that was never happening, this roster was simply not built for a defense-first system. You can't run a 2004 Pistons-style defense when your point guards get blown by on the perimeter, your wings can't handle physical matchups, your backup bigs can't protect the rim. Harrison wanted to recreate a legendary lockdown squad, but the roster he had looked more like the 2018 Cavaliers. It was pure fantasy. And in chasing that fantasy, he sacrificed the one thing Dallas actually did better than almost anyone. Elite offense, elite playmaking, and a generational creator who makes every lineup function. He replaced the sun, and then acted confused when the solar panel stopped working. You don't trade away a superstar who gives you 34 and 9. You don't replace Luka Doncic with Anthony Davis and expect magic. Once the offense died, the defense was constantly scrambling in transition, creating a cycle of chaos. Meanwhile, Luka stayed quiet, dominated in Los Angeles, hit his full Jordan mode, let his game do the talking, and let time deliver his revenge. And just when you thought it couldn't get uglier, the loudest voices in the league started speaking out. They didn't hold back. Dirk Nowitzki, the face of the Mavericks for nearly 2 decades, said Harrison's firing was long overdue and should have happened in the summer.
And to keep going this way, this move should have probably happened this summer.
Luka, meanwhile, stayed silent. No tweets, no sound bites, just results. Game after game, stat after stat, he let the floor deliver the ultimate rebuttal. And when he finally spoke after Harrison's firing, that one smirk, that single line, sent the message loud and clear.
Listen, it's part of the business. When you're in a powerful position, sometimes you become what's known as the scapegoat when things don't go.
Translation, Harrison's grand vision didn't just stumble, it spectacularly imploded. But let's be clear, he dug the hole himself long before anyone else started noticing. And naturally, Charles Barkley had something to say. He didn't go full-on roast mode, but the message was crystal clear. Harrison's missteps were impossible to ignore.